Ezekiel 36 verse 26. Moreover, I will give you a new heart, and put a new spirit within you. And I will remove the heart of stone from your flesh, and give you a heart of flesh. Explanation and application for today. This verse is one of the most beautiful promises found in the Old Testament. Through the prophet Ezekiel, God was speaking to Israel during a time of judgment, exile, and spiritual failure. The people had repeatedly turned away from God, hardened their hearts, and followed their own desires. Yet instead of simply condemning them, God promised something remarkable. He would transform them from the inside out. Notice that God says, I will give, I will put, I will remove, and I will give. The emphasis is on God's work, not man's effort. The people could not change their own hearts. They needed God to do what they could never do for themselves. A new heart. In the Bible, the heart refers to the center of a person's thoughts, desires, emotions, and will. When God promises a new heart, He is talking about a complete inner transformation. Many people try to change their behavior without changing their heart. They make resolutions, promise to do better, or attempt to improve themselves through sheer determination. While discipline has value, lasting spiritual change comes only when God changes the heart. Jesus later spoke about this same reality. A person's actions flow from what is inside. When God gives a new heart, new desires begin to emerge. Things that once seemed unimportant become precious, sin becomes burdensome, and obedience becomes a joy rather than merely a duty. A new spirit. God also promises to put a new spirit within His people. This points to a renewed inner life that is responsive to God rather than resistant to Him. Before God's work in our lives, we naturally tend to live for ourselves. We want our own way, our own plans, and our own priorities. But when God works in us, He creates a new desire to know Him, trust Him, and follow Him. This promise ultimately points forward to the work of the Holy Spirit in the lives of believers through Jesus Christ. God does not simply forgive sin, He transforms people, removing the heart of stone. A heart of stone is hard, unresponsive, and resistant. Just as a stone cannot feel, a spiritually hardened heart becomes insensitive to God's voice. Today, many people struggle with hardened hearts. Disappointments, betrayals, suffering, rejection, and repeated sin can gradually make a person emotionally and spiritually closed off. Some become cynical. Others stop believing that God cares. Some build walls around themselves to avoid being hurt again. A heart of stone may say, "Nobody can be trusted. God could never love me. I will never change. There is no hope for my situation." But God specializes in doing what seems impossible. He can soften the hardest heart and restore what years of pain have damaged. A heart of flesh is not weak. Rather, it is alive, responsive, and capable of loving God and others. When God gives a heart of flesh, a person becomes sensitive to His leading. They begin to care about what God cares about. They become capable of genuine compassion, forgiveness, and love. This transformation is not instant perfection. Believers still struggle and grow over time. Yet the direction of their life changes because God has changed their heart. Relevance for today. This verse is incredibly relevant in today's world. Many people carry deep wounds, disappointment, loneliness, fear, and bitterness. Some have been hurt by family, friends, churches, or relationships. Others feel trapped by habits they cannot seem to overcome. 26 reminds us that God is not merely interested in improving our circumstances. He wants to transform us from within. You may feel stuck in old patterns. You may feel emotionally numb after years of pain. You may think your heart has become too hard, too guarded, or too broken. God's promise says otherwise. The same God who transformed Israel is still changing lives today through Jesus Christ. He takes people who are spiritually dead and makes them alive. He takes hearts hardened by sin and suffering and makes them tender again. He takes people who feel hopeless and gives them a future filled with His grace. Ezekiel 36-26 is ultimately a message of hope. God can do in you what you cannot do for yourself. No heart is too hard for Him to soften. No life is too broken for Him to restore. And no person is beyond the reach of His transforming power. The God who promises a new heart is the God who still keeps His promises today.